Number 5th, can we please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Eisenhart?
Here.
Mr. Hafner?
Here.
Mr. Hohenschel?
Here.
Mrs. Hune?
Mrs. Hune is not able to make the meeting this evening. She is home ill.
Mr. Reitnauer?
Here.
Mr. Sheets?
Mr. Sheets is also unable to make the meeting this evening.
Mr. Stubitz?
Here.
Mrs. Walliser?
Here.
Mr. Weiss?
Here.
7 present.
So this evening, the agenda in front of you is the reorganization meeting. For those in the audience, tonight's a little bit different. Every year, once a year in December, we have to do essentially two meetings in one. We have to do a reorganization meeting, which essentially what that meeting does is it picks the officers for the next year. So every December, we do a reorganization meeting. This will be pretty quick, but after we're done with that process, we'll actually close this meeting and then open up another meeting, which will be our regular December school board meeting. So just bear with us. It'll be a little procedural here until we get into the regular school board meeting. School board members, in front of you is the reorganization agenda. Should be the first one at the top, just to make sure you're on the right one. It says reorganization meeting agenda at the very top. This meeting agenda, if you've been here for a couple of years through this process, looks similar. We did try to lay it out a little bit different to be more self-explanatory. So what will happen is we'll have to elect a temporary president, and then we'll go through those motions. Then we'll elect a president, and then we'll elect a vice president at the end. And then finally, we'll go through the delegates for the school board for the next year, as well as some meeting date approvals for next year's calendar for the school board meeting dates, not the district calendar, but the school board meeting dates. When we go through and you pick a temporary president, and a vice president, you'll have to make a motion. So I make a motion to nominate XYZ. And then you have to have a second for that. So it'll needs a motion and a second. So someone else will have to back you on that motion. If there's only one motion, you can see if you follow along in the brackets, it says if only one nomination, then we do a voice vote, and that would be all in favor and then any opposed. If there's more than one, what would happen is we will go through and we'll do a roll call. And when it's your turn to vote, you say the name of the person that you would want to select. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Any questions on that before we get started? So again, we'll do temporary president, which basically just runs the reorganization meeting until we pick a president, which would be the next step. And then we'll do a vice president at the very end. Okay. So Mr. Wagman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. We need a nomination for a temporary president. Do I hear a motion?
We can still nominate you, correct? I nominate Mike Wagaman as temporary president.
I second.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Any other nominations? Hearing none. All those in roll call vote?
Nope, just all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving on to election of president. Need a motion for and a second for president.
I motion Mike Wagner.
Second.
Any other motions? Any other nominations? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
What's that?
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me. All right. Election of vice president. Need a motion and a second for vice president. I would like to nominate Alexis.
I second.
I want to nominate Mrs. Hune.
Okay. Do we have a second for Mrs. Hune?
What was the other comment?
Alexis. Hearing no second. All those in favor of Alexis?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Appointing delegates to the board. So the first one here is Berks County Earned Income Tax Collection Bureau. That is currently Miss Delgarico
And then Rose Lamastra,
as the
Is-
backup.
she currently serves for the backup for our school district, but also for the most of the townships.
And I'm assuming Rosemary is still
She
interested.
is, yeah.
Okay. Anyone opposed to
Nicole, are
keeping
you
those?
still in there?
Great. Go through the whole thing and then.
We'll do them all at one time.
All right. Moving on to Berks County Committee on Legislative Action. That is currently held by Mrs. Walliser.
Still good.
I'm still good.
Perfect. Thank you. District's Policy Committee is currently Mrs. Walliser.
Sure.
Perfect.
Pretty easy one.
District Strategic Planning Goals Committee is currently Mrs. Eisenhart.
Yep.
Very good. District Negotiations Compensation Committee is Mr. Sheets.
He's not here.
He is not here.
Sounds like he's there.
That's what I was going to say, but anyone else want to throw their hat in the ring there? Or are we good leaving it to Mr. Sheets?
He's done a
Nice
great
Christmas
job so
present
far.
for him. All right.
He's stuck there.
Yep, sure.
That's his punishment.
That was a quick one.
District Building Construction Committee is currently held by myself. Unless anyone else has, I will stay on that role. District Representative to the Berks Vocational Technical School Authority has been Mr. Nolan Schaub, and he is still interested.
Still interested, yep.
So if there is no one else that is interested, we will leave that the way it is. We need to appoint Mr. William Ostrowski as the District School Safety and Security Administrator beginning January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. Mrs. Catherine Aga to fill the capacity of District Title 9 Coordinator beginning January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Acknowledgement of current delegates appointed. Mrs. Hume serves at District's Berks County Intermediate Unit till 2024. Mr. John Sheets is District's Joint Operating Committee for Berks Career and Technology Center delegate.
So Mr. Sheets was communicating with Nicole. He's definitely open to maintaining BCTC. He said he would still be open to doing the negotiation compensation, but with his course loads and workload, at some point if no one else is willing to do it, he's willing to do it now, but it might have to be a quick turnover of someone else taking over in the next month or two. So we can change that at any time,
Negotiations.
So
or we can change it now.
yeah, is there anyone who wants to throw their hat in the ring?
Negotiations.
Negotiations.
And compensation. If he's willing to help out, I can if there's a transition, I don't
Okay.
mind, but I know he's just very good at it and he's done it for a long time and I don't want to not do it correctly.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we leave him on there for now? And then why don't we let that transition happen throughout the course of the year? And if you're willing, we can kind of have him
Yeah.
transition that knowledge over to you.
I know he spoke about it before that he was on his way out.
Yeah.
So
We weren't just going to let him go though. So
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna keep him as long as possible, but I just need to piggyback at least to
Let's do
hear.
that. Let's purposely transition that over throughout the
Yeah.
spring here, and then we can make that purposeful
Okay,
appointment either at some point through this year, or if it's okay, just kind of riding, we can do it next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Is everyone okay with that?
so
Yep.
yeah. So now we have Mr. Sheets as the school board treasurer for 1 year.
So that one is, we select that in July, so that's just kind of acknowledgement at this point.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the affirmationed delegate appropriate appointments made. Is there a motion? Second? Get a roll call, please.
Mrs. Eisenberg,
yes.
Mr. Hafner,
Yes.
Mr. Honchel,
Yes.
Mr. Reinauer,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Walliser,
Yes.
Mr. Wright.
Yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
All right, we need a motion to approve the 2023 board calendar.
Second.
So just a few notes on the board calendar in front of you this evening. This is laid out following a very similar format that we've been using the last few years, which is having the first Monday of the month, except when there's a holiday. There are 3 budget sessions that are also listed for February 13th, which will be our curriculum, instructions, building budgets. And then on February 27th is more of our operational budgets overview. And so that'll be maintenance, transportation, athletics. And then March 27th, as we get a little bit later into spring and get a little bit more things crystallized in terms of staffing, we'll have a salary and benefits budget work session. And again, that's March 27th. The school board meetings should follow a typical first Monday of the month with a few minor exceptions within there.
Are we on spring break, April 3rd?
That is the Monday of April 3rd. So the district's still operating that day, but it would be spring break.
Oh,
We can move that if you'd like to move that.
I
the
will
next-
not be here, but it doesn't mean that we need to move it.
I will not be here either.
Okay. Um,
I looked at the calendar and the next Monday is like Easter Monday.
right. We would be
So
off.
maybe I don't know if it's to move it to a Tuesday or if we just, I don't mind
Yeah.
keeping it, but it is spring break. So
Would everyone be okay with Tuesday, April 11th? Is that okay? Okay. Laura, you okay that day?
Mhm.
Matt? You're-
Yeah.
Okay.
That's perfect.
So strike out Monday, April 3rd, and then let's put in there Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. Good. I'm glad you said something. Any other suggestions? Okay, Mr. Wagman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Alrighty, could I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Hafner,
Yes.
Mr. Honchel,
Yes.
Mr. Reinauer,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Walliser,
Yes.
Mrs. Eisenberg,
yes,
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
Any public comment in regards to the reorganization? Any board discussion? Could I get a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting? All right, moving on to meeting 2.
We do not need to do, we did call to order, but we do not need to do
Roll call.
pledges since we just did a pledge.
All right. I'd like to call to order the Brandywine Heights Area School District School Board meeting for December 5th. Could I get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Eisenberg. Here. Mr. Hafner,
Here.
Mr. Honchel,
Here.
Mrs. Hune,
As mentioned earlier, Mrs. Hune is ill this evening.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Here.
Mr. Sheets,
Mr. Sheets is unable to join us this evening, as mentioned earlier as well.
Mr. Stevens,
Here.
Mrs. Wallheiser? Here. Mr. Wagner?
Here.
7 present.
So this evening we have the opportunity to recognize 2 staff members. We do every month a New Heights Award. Essentially, it's like our Employee of the Month. We get nominations throughout, staff get recognized throughout the month, and then we take all those staff recognitions and then select 2 people to be recognized as the Employees of the Month. So we are going to recognize first Mrs. Amy Rohrbach. So Amy, if you don't mind coming up. I'm going to read the nomination of why Amy was recommended for the New Heights Award recipient, and then we further selected her for the nomination this evening. Amy goes above and beyond expectations as an intervention specialist. She's a great resource for all students in the building, whether she is assisting them in the class as a co-teacher or pulling them for a small group intervention. Amy is constantly helping out both the students and the staff across the middle school. Mr. Riggins, I'll turn it over to you before we have you say some comments. I think Amy's joined by her husband, Stevie. Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you. So one word to describe Ms. Rohrbach: energetic. That's the word that comes to my mind because every single time I see Mrs. Rohrbach in the hallways, she's smiling and she has that infectious laugh that I know everybody's heard. And she brings that to the classroom. She brings that energy to our students. And you can see the outcomes. You can see the positive outcomes that these students have. So she's a treasure. We're lucky to have her here. She's taught every subject area in 6th grade except for science. This is your 19th year teaching it, and it all shows. We have benefited from her expertise, and I'm glad to have you. We're all glad to have you. Thank you.
Next up, we have Miss Lisa Roy. Lisa, if you don't mind joining us. Lisa works in the People Services Department, and this is the recognition for Lisa. Lisa has been an exceptional, dedicated, and an invaluable member of the People Services Special Education Office. Lisa always goes out of her way to help everyone that she works with. She is the glue of the Pupil Services Special Education team that allows everything to run smoothly. In addition to all her duties, she has also taken on an assistant student every morning, ensuring she has breakfast, setting the activities, walking her to the bus daily. We are so lucky to have her be part of the New Heights administrative team. She is the definition of the New Heights Award because she allows everyone to work to reach their new heights.
And I'd just like to say a few things. She, in the last few weeks, has taken on tremendous workload with trying to get through child count and checking all our PIMS reports and going back and forth with the teachers and working with our teachers to ensure that all of their documents and things are accurate. So honestly, like, Lisa's the one that I turn to if I have a question, the teachers turn to if they have questions, and she could run as fast as she could if she wanted, but she chooses to stay and she works with them and our entire team every day, and truly is an asset to that team. So I just want to say thank you for everything that you do. Thank you.
Moving on to Student Board Representative Report. Tatiana.
The elementary school held their intervention, family, fun, literacy, and math night on December 1st. Their intervention team hosted a carnival-themed event and invited families to complete reading and math games together. They enjoyed popcorn and cotton candy while completing the fun educational activities as a family. On Thursday, December 8th, the elementary school will host another parent-student workshop. Each family will be given different ideas and games to practice math strategies at each grade level. There will be prizes raffled off, and a great turnout is expected. Lastly, later this month, Santa is visiting and handing out gifts to students provided by the PTC. In the middle school, they started their book fair on December 2nd, and it will run until this Friday, December 9th. The 5th and 6th grade concert is on December 6th. The 7th and 8th grade concert is on December 8th. They will be having a Spirit Week the week of December 19th. Monday is Holiday Hat and Sock Day. Tuesday is Candy Cane Day, where they wear red and white. Wednesday is Red and Green Day, and Thursday is Holiday Sweater Day. The intermediate school students will head to the Topton home for a sing-along on December 22nd, and Santa will visit students during lunch on December 20th. The intermediate school students participated in their first Pulse Olympics, where students were recognized for demonstrating the Pulse philosophy, which P stands for pride, U for unity, L for leadership, S for service, and E for engagement.
Megan?
For the high school, tomorrow night there will be a meeting in the high school library for any interested parties in a potential field trip to the Grand Canyon and other neighboring national parks for the spring of 2024. This coming Friday, first period classes will participate in a door decorating contest with the theme of holiday movies and songs. Also this Friday, the Senior Citizen Band and Choir Winter Concert will be held in the auditorium, and the winter concert for the open public will be held on the night of December 14th. The Chamber and Treble Choir will travel to perform at the Christmas Village in Philadelphia on December 16th. December 14th will be the Winter Blood Drive held by Key Club with Miller Keystone Blood Center. On December 16th, there will be a holiday pep rally in the gym with holiday games. And the Holiday Spirit Week will be held from December 16th to the 22nd, with the 16th being holiday class colors for the pep rally, seniors in red, juniors in white, sophomores in green, and freshmen in blue. The 19th will be Christmas Comfy Day, the 20th, Holiday Hats and Socks Day, the 21st, Ugly Sweater Day, and the 22nd, Anything But a Backpack Day. The Brandywine Heights Clothing Circle collected 143 bags of clothing this past Saturday, and their next event will be a distribution of free clothing in the high school cafeteria on January 28th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. In sports, last weekend girls basketball placed first in the Hamburg Tip-Off Tournament, and the boys basketball team placed second in the tournament. Unified Bocce's first match is set to be home against Kutztown on December 19th, and this weekend the Sam Lavello Classic Individual Wrestling Tournament is to be held at the high school.
Perfect. Thank you, ladies. Tatiana, any updates with the clothing drive? I mean, we obviously heard some there.
She covered it all.
Perfect. All that to press a button to say that. Thank you, ladies, so much. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. And Amy, congratulations again. Lisa, congratulations again. We hope you thank you so much for all you do, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season as well.
All right. Is there any public comment relative to the agenda? Hearing none, move on to the Board of Directors report. Can I get a motion and a second? Mr. Pottinger.
So there are just a few items to note here in the Board of Directors report. We have the meeting minutes. Any changes, corrections, or updates from the November 7 meeting minutes? Okay, none heard. We have the second reading of policies. I have not received any feedback on those, so I'll move on to the first reading of policies. Really nothing too much to point here. These are just, again, that cyclical process where we keep looking at them. The first one, 101, mission statement, vision statement, and shared values. The updates to that, if you look at that policy, are just to match our current statements that are listed there. Number 2, the copyright material, no changes to that one. 815, acceptable use of technology. There's 2 just clarifying sentences that were added to those policies. One pertains to parent support. There's a section under there about unauthorized users using our technology. And so we just had to add a clarifying sentence in there that obviously parents can support their children with the use of the technology. So we just want to make sure there's a statement in there. And then the second one is that the district can monitor their internet communications for anything that would not fit or be appropriate as the policy would stand with the communications. We are going to retire 815.1, which is the employee use of social networks, because the new 815.1, which was 815.5, there is a social media policy. So 815.5, can't say that tonight. Social media will now become 815.1, and then that employee use of social media falls under that umbrella of the regular social media policy. The final thing to mention this evening is that the KKLL law firm, which Mr. Pratt is part of, is going to be joining and merging with the Saxton and Stump law firm. The great news with this, there is a clarifying statement in there, and that last sentence of that clarifying statement is that the solicitor services and hourly rates will remain the same. So Mr. Pratt will still remain our solicitor of record, which is phenomenal. Mr. Pratt, anything you'd like to add to that?
Just a couple of things. The reason for this move is that with the retirement of our two senior attorneys, Clarence Cagle and Howard Kalin, we had been looking to expand our firm, and this opportunity to merge with Saxon and Stump came along, which allows us to enhance and to provide additional services to our school district clients throughout the Commonwealth. And we thought it was a good way to continue that relationship without having to, for those of you who run small businesses, to run a business and plus also practice law. So it gives us that opportunity to concentrate and to give more dedication to our clients. And we feel it's a great opportunity for not only for us, but also for our clients. So thank you.
Well, it's wonderful to still be able to continue working with you. Thank you.
Moving on to committee reports. First two, Mrs. Hune, and BCTC. Burke's earned income tax. Ms. Delgarico.
I have nothing to report. The next meeting is December 15th.
Thank you. Council on Legislative Action, Mrs. Walliser.
Nothing new to report. Next meeting is February.
Perfect. Policy Committee. Any?
Mr. Wagner covered that.
All righty. Strategic Planning.
Nothing to report.
Negotiations Committee, Building and Construction Committee. I will turn that over to you, Mr. Pogger.
So just a few updates. As you may recall, at the November meeting, we had a presentation about what the future of our outside facilities, specifically the intermediate middle school stadium, would look like. We are still working with the Department of Environmental Protections. We were supposed to have a meeting today. That got postponed until later this week. And so I will keep the board apprised of what happens out of that outcome of that meeting. The goal originally, Mr. Hefner, I remember you asking this to ask for 3 different quotes, one from what the engineering piece was, one for the track, and then one for the whole track and turf together. And so at this point, we were hoping to be able to provide that to you this evening, but because of the DEP piece of it, we had to delay that. So more to come. We're hoping maybe January we can address that, but we do want to make sure that we're taking all the right steps and make sure that this is thoroughly thought out in terms of all those necessary approvals before we engage in something serious like this. So still doing our homework. More to come on that project.
Any additional board discussion? Excuse me, questions? Hearing none, can I get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Eisenhart?
Yes.
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Honchel?
Yes.
Mr. Reitauer?
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Walliser?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to the business and operations report. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved, Eisenhart.
The floor is yours.
All right, thank you. In the business and operations report, we have the bills list. Item A is the general fund, $1,896,495. Item minimum of one staff member as a shared nurse substitute in lieu of contracted services from December of 2022 through June 30th of 23 as attached. Item 3 is to approve the contract addendum for ESS Northeast LLC that provides paraprofessional services, and the new rates are noted below. So we have been going back and forth in negotiations with them to simply increase the rates that are paid directly to the employees. After some back and forth conversation, these are what was agreed upon. The hope is that it'll fill the needed gaps that we have when it comes to paraprofessionals. And then item F is to approve an agreement with Assist Services to provide specialized student transportation services for McKinney-Vento, IEP, foster, homeless, and special needs students effective December 1st, 2022 through July 31st of 2023, pending solicitor approval. So this is on the agenda this evening as this company approached us. They've approached districts throughout the state of Pennsylvania in regards to providing transportation services, and Mandy and I have been working with them in regards to filling the gaps, essentially, that for runs that Brandywine Transportation cannot fill. So this is essentially a backup plan. Obviously, pending solicitor approval, we'll send that contract over. And then moving on to G, curriculum and technology. Item 1 is to approve the purchase of the exterior door security enhancements from CDW and also the installation cost from Google IT Solutions, pending receipt of the Act 55 School Safety and Security Grant at an estimated total cost of $180,000 as attached. And then moving on to facilities maintenance. Item 1 is to approve a proposal with Lehigh Electric Products for the intermediate middle school lighting control console at a cost of $6,000 per H1. This is a new light board for the middle school auditorium. The current light board was not replaced on a construction project. So at this point, we cannot provide full control of the new spotlights. This probably should have been part of the initial design of the auditorium. But at this point, we're asking for you to approve it, and it will be paid with construction money. Moving on to item I is to approve a proposal from Conrad Siegel to perform the 2022 ACA employer reporting services at a cost of $5,700. That is no change from last year. And item J is to accept the resignation of Sue Davis as tax collector of Taunton Borough effective December 31st. Just a note on that, we have been in conversations with the borough. All letters of interest have gone directly to the borough. They have a meeting on December 12th. At that time, we'll review the letters, basically do interviews for the next tax collector starting January 1st. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions or points of concern?
I have a question about ESS. I heard that there is going to be a substitute paraprofessional as a return, like a college student coming home. Can we maybe see if we can do more of that? She's being hired as a substitute para through ESS, and she's a college student coming home on break.
So there's a couple different avenues with that. If there's someone, so good for everyone to hear. If someone is interested in working with the school district, we have several opportunities. One is obviously the paraprofessional group, and we partner with ESS. Another one is through working as a student teacher or as a substitute teacher, and that's through a company called STS. So a college student that would be coming home, depending on how many credits they have, would be able to be a substitute teacher for us. It just depends how many credits they have.
Yeah.
I misread it. I forget the number. I think it's
60.
Yeah.
But this is ESS.
Right.
So they don't need this certain amount of hours.
That's correct. Yeah.
So I think that maybe we could just ask them to reach out to more people, or if we know that college students coming home that need a job, while they're home for the month, or,
It's a good way to-
anything that's a backup for us.
Good way to market it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Good suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Hearing none, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Hafner?
Yes.
Mr. Honcho?
Yes.
Mr. Rainauer?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Walliser? Mrs. Eisenhardt? Yes. Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
Thank you. Superintendent's report. Could I get a motion and a second?
So moved. Eisenhart.
So under the superintendent report, there's only one item, and that is to approve a trip to the west for Bryce Canyon, Zion, and Grand Canyon National Parks. That trip would happen in the spring of 2004. So not this spring, but the following spring. So the dates aren't completely solidified yet, just because it's 2 years out. The idea behind this is, of course, we can give the students the opportunity. Just as a reminder, the district does have some vouchers that we had purchased during when the whole COVID thing happened. So these trips and how the students that would go in this would help to offset that. It's about 15 vouchers at the current rate for this trip. So the goal would be that we would offset those vouchers first before we would purchase them directly to EF Tour. But great opportunity for the students, and in some ways it's nice to be able to do a domestic trip because we had so many issues with the international. So I think it's a great opportunity if we can get some students to go on this. But we wanted to get this in front of the board for approval tonight so we can have those informational meetings and have the green light to proceed.
Any,
This is for a class I saw in environmental science. So what it is?
It is, I don't have it right in front of me.
11 and 12 AP environmental science or anatomy and physiology.
Yeah, so it's targeting
Those
our
students.
science classes. Yeah.
any questions, concerns? Hearing none, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Honcho?
Yes.
Mr. Rainauer?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Walliser?
Yes.
Mrs. Eisenhardt?
Yes.
Mr. Hafner?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
All right, personnel report. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
Second.
So a few items under the personnel section this evening. We have the acknowledgement that Ms. Del Guerco will be staying as our business manager. So that's a wonderful news item for us.
Yeah.
We also have the resignation of our longtime boys soccer head coach, Mr. Jason Miller. He's been serving in that capacity for the last 14 years since 2009. So, and he's been a volunteer since 2006. So a huge thank you and credit for all that he's done for the soccer program through those years. We also have the resignations of some co-curricular positions that kind of the ebb and flow of positions throughout the year. So those are listed there on the personal C4A as the attachment. We have a change of status for Ms. Swank. Ms. Swank is currently a floating sub for us. She's going to be filling in for the gifted intervention specialist position while that person's on maternity leave. And then we have one that will last until the end of April 28th, and then she'll go back into that floating sub position. So we are also in the process of advertising for a floating sub position to be able to backfill for that current gap that we have. We have the athletic recommendations, the winter season recommendations listed under C4. And then we have the revised athletic event staff and volunteer coaches listed under C4B. Under support staff, we have a new support staff substitute for food services, which is exciting. And then we also have maternity leave under E, leaves, for a staff member to take a maternity leave from February 2nd through the end of the school year. We are currently doing interviews for that position right now. We also have, for me, a great opportunity for us, similar that we just approved for the nurse shared nursing agreement and the ESS paraprofessional agreement. This is an opportunity to recognize our nurses. We have 3 nurses that work with the school district, so we're looking to do a nursing rate increase from $18 per hour to $25 an hour. When you look at the market comparison of what an LPN or an RN is getting in the world outside of education, the average is a lot. This gets us closer to the average by making it to $25 an hour. And then subsequently, we have F2, which is to adjust the support staff rates for support staff, specifically nurses. And then finally, under F3, it's to approve a one-time vacation purchase buyout for Miss Nicole Del Guerco, the business manager, for 10 vacation up to 10 vacation days based off of her business manager contract. Again, it's a one-time scenario because of all the work that she has put in over the course of the last year with a lot of shifting positions. She wasn't able to use all her vacation days, so this is an opportunity to afford her that time to be able to not lose those days. Any questions on the personnel items?
All right, hearing no questions, could I get roll call, please?
I'm sorry, Mr. Reitner,
Yes.
Mr. Stubitz,
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Mrs. Eisenhart,
Yes.
Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Hohenschel,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes,
6 yeas, motion passes.
thank you. All right, moving on to other business. Any public comment? Any board discussions, concerns? Hearing none, could I get a motion and a second for adjournment? Thank you very much. Nice and close.
47 minutes.
That's pretty good.